Namaste to all. Very often I get this question. The question is, when God would have created this universe for the first time, please explain what would have been the criteria based on which God decides some Jivatma to be humans, some Jivatma to be animals, etc. What is the criteria? How God would have decided? If God had given human birth to some people and God had given animal birth to some Jivatma, then is it not that God is becoming partial? This question comes to me often. I normally don't reply to that question very directly, but still, I thought of clarifying some information. Of course, it might not fully satisfy you, but we must always understand Vedas are extremely logical. Some of the questions we do not find answers in the Vedas, but Vedas has given us way to find out answers by our logic, by understanding the Sanatan Dharma framework basically. Even Darshan Shastras, for example, Sankhya Darshana or any other Darshana, Rishis have realized those books after realization. So when we understand Rishis' words, we can try to find answers for these kind of questions. This is a very difficult question, but we will try to understand it in a logical way in this short video. The first thing is, there is no first creation. What is the thing which is making us to think that there would have been a first creation? It's only because of our natural thing that we see people getting born, we see people getting death, we see things are being born and things are getting into death. So because of our limited intellect, we assume that everything should take a birth and everything will die. That means the same thing we extrapolate to this universe creation thing, saying that the first time when the universe would have got created, what would have been the criteria for Almighty God? See, even the modern science, however modern science is against the Vedic Dharma, but modern science also believes certain fundamentals because they are unable to find answers. What is that fundamental? For example, law of conservation of matter or energy, that energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. Nobody will question to science that how do you tell this? Or law of conservation of momentum, law of conservation of matter or mass. Mass can neither be created nor be destroyed. It can be converted into mass into energy, energy into mass, etc., etc. But nobody will question that how do you assume this? See, because when you deeply analyze certain things, you have to stop at one point. For example, which came first, egg or chicken? This is a very common question. Which came first, egg or chicken? Because without egg, chicken cannot be born, and without the female hen or chicken, without that the egg cannot be produced. So which came first? This is also another interesting question. So when the first universe got created actually is not a logical question, but since we have limited intellect, we ask this question, but still we will try to answer. The counter question we have to ask is, if somebody asks you or if somebody asks me, the counter question I put forward to those people is that what is meant by first creation? What is your understanding about first creation? The understanding is very simple. Before this creation, nothing existed. There was no previous creation. There is a first creation. So the question will come to you that if you believe in Almighty God, do you believe that Almighty God is eternal? Naturally, answer is yes. Every Vedic philosopher, every Vedic follower, even every Hindu, they will say that God is eternal. Okay, if God is eternal, one of the quality of Almighty God is very clear, that His actions, His knowledge is unlimited. His knowledge is eternal. His actions are unlimited actions and unlimited. He does actions repeatedly. He does not do one-time actions. He always does nyayakari. He is a nyayakari. We have to understand that. So the question I would ask is, what is your understanding of first creation? What happened? The counter question is very simple. If you say that the first time universe got created, then what was the change in Almighty God? Before that, He did not create the universe. Suddenly, what thinking came to Almighty God that He wanted to create the universe? What is God having alpa jnana? Is God thinking suddenly, no, Jivatmas are here, so let me create the universe? Or, I am getting bored alone, so let me have a play with the universe? God does not have these qualities. There is no first, because when you assume that there is first, that means before the first thing that happened, God was not acting anything, God was not doing anything. Suddenly, some changes happened inside God's mind, and God thought of creating the universe. This is not the quality of Almighty God. See why I speak about God? Because this answer is relevant to those people who believe in Vedas, but they are unable to get satisfactory answers on this. See, we find, for example, I always ask a question. You take a rubber ball or a cricket ball or a round spherical object. Tell me where it started. You cannot find out. It's continuous round, round, and round and round. You will never come to the conclusion. That's why God says in Rig Veda, just to give us a knowledge, God says, Surya Chandra Masaudata Yata Purvam Akalpayat. That means that this universe is copy paste of previous universe. Yata Purvam Akalpayat. I created this universe similar to the previous creation, like the sun, moon, earth, space, all those things, whatever you see is the same which was there in the previous universe also. That means it will be the same in the next universe also. And this cycle will go on and on and on, and we have to stop at one point of time. We cannot find an answer about the first creation, because the first creation can naturally not exist, because God's actions, God's knowledge are eternal, nitya. So, and even science also say that there must be something which is eternal, which is undivided, which is uncreated. Like energy is uncreated. How do you prove that? There must be some assumption at point of time, because there are certain we will come to a certain point where we cannot divide that matter into further thing. That's why people have developed the concept of shunyata, like everything got from nothing. It's like saying that 1 divided by 0. I made a video like 1 divided by 0. See, 0, you add 0 infinite times, the answer cannot be 1. So 0 can never become 1. That means this shunya, nothingness, can never become somethingness. That we must understand. It's totally unscientific. So the question of the first creation does not exist, because the first creation never happened, is the Vedic answer, point number 1. And also, point number 2, when we analyze chicken, I want to answer the chicken and egg also. See, God creates this universe from Prakriti, Mehat, Ahankarat, Panchatanmatrani, like that, the universe creation goes on in the Sankhya Darshana. It's very clearly clarified, explained by Sankhya Darshan, Kapil Muni. So when we see the universe, it moves from minute subatomic quanta state up to this universe level, from small to big. So naturally, egg is the smaller form. God must have created the egg first, and then based on the and of course God has the creation of Almighty God is called as Amaituni Srishti. Amaituni means non-sexual creation. God creates the Pancha Bhutas, all the universe gets created. After that, God creates the bodies for the life. The Jivatma is eternal, but the bodies are created by Almighty God. So the first creation would have been egg only. From the egg, the chicken got hatched, or the male got hatched, and from that, the bodies were formed, and after that, the Maithuni creation started. So this we must very clearly understand. We should not get confusion. Of course, theory of evolution theory, Darwin's theory will speak also egg only, but they have another view of why egg, because of theory of evolution. But from the point of view of Vedas, God creates smaller subatomic particles first, and then gradually it becomes bigger. So egg is smaller, and of course the body, grown up body is of the chicken is much bigger than the egg. The weight of the egg is much smaller than the weight of the newly hatched baby chicken or something like that. So that we must understand very clearly. So, and one more thing is where we must end this question. Like before before this creation, what was there? Pralaya. Before Pralaya, what was there? Previous creation. So it is continuous eternal cycle. There is no end to it. We cannot find an answer to it. But what we can logically arrive at is, there cannot be a first thing, because if there is a first thing, then God's action, God's knowledge become finite. It is not infinite. And secondly, how God decides our karma. See, basically, Vedas very clearly says one important thing. This doubt also is there in many people's mind. That is, moksha permanent or impermanent? Moksha is not permanent. Moksha is impermanent, because the tapasya, what we undertake for moksha, is also limited. Limited actions will not result in permanent results. Limited actions will result in limited results. So we do tapasya for 30,000 janmas, 40,000 janmas, intense Ashtanga Yoga tapasya. God awards us moksha, and moksha period, as you know, is 311 point some trillion earth years, based on the earth calculation, 311 trillion years. So for 40,000 janmas he gives 311 trillion years of moksha period. And once the moksha is over, God has to give us birth only. But what is the basis of that birth? That is called as first birth. So suppose for example you have attained moksha, or I have attained moksha, and my moksha is over in the previous, so I have to take birth. So God will award human birth. God will not award any other birth. How? What is the basis of that human birth? See, we cannot definitely say, because there is no previous karma. So how he decides human birth? See, what is the icha of Almighty God? God has a ikshan, not desire like us. But God desires welfare of all jivatmas. So that is why he gives us birth in the human body, so that we have a fair chance to understand, listen Vedas, do tapasya, and again go to moksha. So that's why he gives us human body, and also he creates us in such a situation that soul will take a human birth in such a situation wherein he or she can do tapasya, he or she can do listen to acharya who is a samadhist yogi. So that is the place he or she will take birth. And after that, after the birth, of course we have our own rights. We can do tapas, we will be listening Vedas also, but we can choose to adopt Vedic path, tapasya path, or we can choose to go towards Kam, Krodh, Madh, Lobha, Ahankara. After that only our karmas will get created. I'm just telling from the point of view of a mukta jivatma ending his moksha and coming to human birth. See, God is nyayakari. That means God will do the same process for all the jivatmas. God will not do anyaya, that okay, he gives human birth to one jivatma, after moksha other jivatma he gives animal birth. No, he will not do it. His actions are always in nyaya. That we must understand. He is always just, supreme judge, we can say. So and when some jivatma comes to human body after moksha, the universe exists, because every jivatma will not attain moksha at the same time. I made one video 2 days back, please see that. So we must understand that moksha is not permanent, and even if moksha is not permanent, trying for moksha, there is no harm, because the period of moksha is 311 trillion years compared to the effort what we are putting to attain moksha. See, Maharishi beautifully answers, tomorrow morning you are going to get hungry, you know that for sure, but today afternoon meals you eat full, today night dinner you eat full, because even though tomorrow morning you will get again hungry. So just for one day sukh also you do not leave your sensual pleasure. So the moksha period is 311 trillion years, very very long period. So why not we try for moksha, is what he says, and it's very logical also. So this is very important for us to understand. Moksha cannot be permanent, because if moksha is permanent, God will become unjust. God cannot give infinite result for a finite action. That we must understand. I hope you are able to understand this difficult concept, but this is if you say that there is a better answer in any other philosophy, you must tell. If you say like let's say Islam religion or other religion, God can create based on his own mercy. He can award me a body, human body, and he can make me take birth in richest family, and he can decide anybody else for anything, because they say that this is a test by Almighty God to the human being. God does not have this kind of qualities, and if they say that okay, God is doing at his own mercy, we must ask that what is the change that happened inside Almighty God which tempted him to create this universe and do this testing thing. So there are no answers, because swabhavaki jnanam kriya balam kriya cha. God's actions are always swabhavik and always eternal. It's round and round and round, it's infinite. So that is why we do not have a satisfaction answer in any other man-made textbooks. Vedas do not really answer it directly, but indirectly Vedas has clarified, like whatever I mentioned is all from the Vedic Dharma only. It's not my knowledge. I don't have realization of anything, but I try to give you clarification based on the research what I have done, based on my Acharya's pravachan, based on Maharishi Dayananda Saraswati's various books, based on some Arya Samajis who are really good scholars. They also try to formulate many good thinking in this context. Thank you so much. Namaste. Om.